I just have a few thoughts today about introducing a song. Some tips to make introducing a song more engaging. And here are some things I'm going to go over. How to build curiosity from the start. You need some kind of hook, some kind of attention getter, something that makes the kids engaged right away. How to accept answers. I have some thoughts on that. Something to listen for, because we always want to be building the skill of listening. Listening is a fundamental behavior in music that we want to teach and give space for and reinforce. And then repetition with engagement. I'll talk about that a little bit. Okay, so this is a song that I taught my pre-K and K students this past week, and here's how I did it. Okay, I have a song that has an animal in it. And instead of singing that animal's name or singing what that animal is, I'm going to point to this every time it happens in the song. What is this? It's a question mark, yeah, because I'm going to keep that a secret. Okay, here comes my song. There's a at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. There's a at the bottom of my garden, and all that he can do is wiggle all day and wiggle all night. The neighbors say he's a terrible fright. There's a at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. Now my students were very engaged. They were very curious about what this could be. And then I said, raise your hand if you have an idea of what this thing is in the song. What is this animal? What kind of animal is it? Raise your hand. And so, of course, almost every student had their hand up. This is really important, how to accept answers, how to make accepting answers work for you and for your purposes. Think how it would be if I said, raise your hand if you have an idea of what the animal is. They raise their hands and I call on a kid and they say the right answer. And I say, that's it. That's sort of how we maybe were taught or how we were taught to teach. But think how different it might be if you said, or if a child raised their hand and they say the wrong answer, it's not the answer, and you say, nope. That might feel a certain way for a child, right? But here's a different technique that I really like to use. And I tell the kids, I'm not going to tell you yes or no if you're right or wrong. I'm just going to let all of you tell me what you think the answer is. So then I very quickly go, and I might not make a comment when they say what they think the animal is. So they gave me all their ideas of what could go in there. And I probably sang the song again for them, pointing to the question mark. I think I said, put the animal that you're thinking of, put the name of that animal into the space where I'm pointing at the question mark and see if it fits. So I let them tell me all their different answers, and I might, probably in each class somebody did say the answer, and I might say, oh, I have heard the answer. Here comes the song again. So then I would sing the song again and put the question mark in. There's a at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. There's a at the bottom of my garden, and all that he can do is wiggle all day and wiggle all night. The neighbors say he's a terrible fright. There's a at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. Okay, so going back to my list here, I'm going to wrap this up really quick. How to build curiosity. Well, we were wondering, what is that animal? And then, we heard all the different answers, and we don't know what the animal is yet. Accepting answers. try to avoid the right answer game of just accepting the first right answer. When you accept all the answers, that makes the students more willing to give a response. It gives students time to think of a response, and it makes the students take more responsibility for their own learning, because I'm going to accept all the answers at first, or hear all the answers at first, which makes the kids more likely to come up with an answer. Something to listen for. I gave them put the answer in your head of what the animal you think it is, and then repetition with engagement. Teaching the song this way gives me the opportunity to sing the song many times before I have them join in, because I want them to hear me sing the song several times, but also, of course, we don't want them to be bored and that gives them an opportunity to misbehave or get fidgety, or they're not engaged anymore. Okay, so the intrigue builds the opportunity for you to sing the song over and over. And I'll go ahead and sing it now and teach you this song with the word that goes in the song. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and all that he can do is wiggle all day and wiggle all night. The neighbors say he's a terrible fright. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. All right, I hope that gives you, one, a new song to use, and two, some different ways to bring a song to life for your students with engagement, so that everybody is having the opportunity to learn and to build their stamina of listening.